From deep inside the Truckin Broadcasting Studio, located in Truckin City headquarters, where opinions fly faster than Maverick's F-18 and myths fold like a house of cards. Get ready for the most unique live show, challenging you to believe what you see and learn something new every day. Featuring the El Rushbo of Truckin' News, Mr. Attitude himself, your host, Deviator.
God bless it, other than the internet hiccup. Not a problem. So far, so good. God bless everybody, and welcome to another successful week. Week number 4. Unfortunately, don't have the banners and graphics prepared for it. I was running behind. Thank you all for joining us. Week number 4 on our battle with Main Street Mafia. We are out there every day, and we are making you smarter and more educated about life on the road, where things are going, and what the state of news is in this country. For the longest time, I constantly watched Main Street media get it wrong. And it prompted me to actually start a channel like you see and actually take on the cause of holding Main Street and their feet to the fire. You know, I see it all the time. I look at the internet day in and day out, and actually a great number of shows get it right, you know. But the problem is they're not the main players. They're not the NBCs, they're not the ABCs, the CNNs, the Foxes, all of that. You know, they're the small guys, like me, for example. You know, I'm taking on this mission to find the news stories, find the facts that are true and pertinent and correct, and things that you need to know, and I bring it up to your attention, and I make you smarter and better for it. So it's been a worthwhile cause, and I thought I'd take a little bit of time today to kind of bring that all together. As I pointed out at the start of the show, it's week number 4. It's been one full month. I mean, to me, one full solid month that I've been actually doing this. And I'm sure my guests will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm close on that. And my cause is true. All I want to do is highlight those news stories I see not getting enough attention or getting too much, depending on how it goes, and bring you my perspective. And what's better is I also want to open up a spot where you can weigh in and actually change the course of the conversation. This is not like any show. It's not all me and forget you, which some shows are, some shows aren't, but it's about you. I'm passionate about this industry. I'm passionate about what it represents. I like working as a truck driver. I like doing different things. So I thought I'd take today's show and just talk about something that doesn't really get a lot of time coverage. Some things do, some things don't. But this is something that really doesn't get covered a whole lot in today's industry. We hear a lot about, oh, there's no respect, there's no this, there's no. I get that. And I agree with that. There's a lot of respect gone in this industry. But I think we'd be far better off if we just took a second, slow down, and take a little time each day and say, what are we thankful for? What is it we recognize that helped us get where we are? I do that quite frequently. Now, especially because we have this channel and we have all the things going on that we do in this industry today, I think it's very important to step back for just a moment and say, what am I thankful for? And you know what? I thank myself every single day. Okay. As you see behind me going on, I thank myself every single day for the lovely woman that's going to come up in this picture here in just a second. That is my wife. She is the bedrock of what makes this show possible. Those two darlings right there, Andrew and Aiden, they are the main reason I get up every day and look for content. My daughter in the background with her husband and 2 children, they are very helpful and they are an important part of what makes me the boss man. You know, it's what makes me the personality that I am today. So, you know what? Enough of me talking. We are going to have some fun today and we are going to open it up and let some other people get their say in. Let me introduce and welcome another fellow whom you're watching on his channel equally. He's famous, he's big, he's bad, he's funny. He's John. Driving with John. Told you I was going to keep you
No,
mad to my word.
no. Yeah, no, I'm not famous. I'm just a old truck driver that's driving around and making funny videos.
No,
I'm
well,
not
I
famous.
poked fun. I poked fun at it because it's kind of part and parcel to today's topic, which is being thankful. So on that, the humility side of you is I mean it's dripping off of you, honestly. What do you have
Hope
to be
that's
thankful?
all that's dripping off of me. Um,
Come on, family friendly now.
I meant sweat. I meant sweat.
Oh,
Come
oh,
on.
oh, oh, oh,
Um,
okay. Look at me.
um, sorry guys, I'm just my brain's a little foggy. I just woke up not too long ago. I'm in the middle of my 34.
Oh,
So
we'll forgive you. What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful, obviously, for my family and my beautiful wife. She is same as you. She is the reason why I'm out here doing what I do. Um, I'm thankful for God because every day I see Him in my life and see Him everywhere I go. and I spend time with them every day. And I just think that that is a missed opportunity by truck drivers. You have all this alone time out here, then you should be able to hopefully spend some time with God. So
DIY semi. Thank you for joining the show, DIY. Says, who is this John Joker? Yeah, I'm
I
thankful for
agree.
you being. Yeah, I am thankful for you being on the show, John. Honestly, you are what make this show what it is today. You and the fella that I'm about to bring on as well. He is also a man famous in his own right. He's got a YouTube channel he's starting. You all know him from the great famous site Grumpy Old Truckers on Facebook. Welcome to the Grumpy Old Trucker.
Morning.
He is another fella that has kind of helped shape this show, and he himself has recently gone through some struggles and kind of had a lot come out of those struggles to be thankful for. So, on the vein of being thankful, Frank, want to name some of the things you're thankful for. What makes you feel good and continue every day with your mission?
I think I honestly, I mean, I don't know how many people are religious, but I am. And let me tell you, I'm not a perfect Christian, but I'm thankful the Lord lets me live every day because, it was quite the scare when I was in the hospital this last month. And of course, we did one live not long ago while I was in the hospital. I just, in fact, had surgery the day before. And, the good Lord's allowed me to stay alive and so I could be with my family and keep going. Hopefully he'll get me back up and running where I can get back in a truck again because I sure love truck driving. I've been doing it for 23 plus years, and it's something
Yeah,
I enjoy.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's really just a matter of what the good Lord does. In fact, you and I were talking, and I think I've had this conversation with both you guys. Um, I really firmly believe that God sets in motion things before us and we don't see it happening. I mean, I am not a devoutly, publicly religious man, but I will gladly say I do believe in God. I do believe in his mission. I do believe in his ability to shape our lives. He has everything mapped out before we even do it, and we are just followers. That is the way I look at things. That is the whole reason I'm able to host this show and have the discussion, the way I am. I firmly believe that, and I know that the more people tune in, they'll figure that out. Hopefully that is something that shows and it becomes evident. But that's the leading reason why I do that. So yeah, I mean, on what you two are saying, I mean, I am thankful every day for the opportunity to not only drive this truck that I'm driving, but also be able to host a show, have the platform, make the difference. It is quite a blessing, you know. If you're joining us on YouTube, on my channel on YouTube, or on John's channel on YouTube, take a moment, please. Go down below, hit the like button, become a subscriber. I'm cranking out on average at least 2 pieces of content, news related, every week. This week I'm a little light because I've had a really busy schedule in this truck. If you're a truck driver, 70 hours plus content is not easy. But on my off time, I'm looking at news, I'm making content, I'm out here making a difference. So I welcome you to hit that like button, become a subscriber, watch and participate, leave comments. We're going to open the studio line here. You can call in and be part of the show as well. I pride myself in having one of the only shows that actually has a call-in segment and ability to host um, you, the audience listening, as well as watching. So you can contribute anyway. You can type in a comment. You can call into our studio line here, which I'll open shortly. Um, And be sure and stick around to the end of and just before the end of the show, I'm going to start something. And I was true to the thumbnail. I'm going to start a movement, and I want to start people doing something that I think will catch on. So, stick around toward the end of the show. I'll introduce you to that concept. You want to talk about somebody that has something to be thankful for. Okay, this leads me into something else I wanted to cover for just a minute. Someone else that has something to be very thankful for is right here in this clip. Just watch this clip for just a second here. Actually, no, this is all right. This is a soundless clip. This is of the wreck that happened on that Louisville Bridge. I mean, you want to talk about being thankful. This man right here being able to rappel down off that bridge and be able to safely get the job done, rescuing that female driver. I understand it was a female driver that was in that truck, and she was hoisted out of that truck after I think over a 40-minute operation, just trying to set up all the rigging, everything, just to be able to rappel down like that man is doing right there. That was quite a thing. First of all, that lady that was driving that truck, I mean, she should be, just thanking God every day, and I'm sure she is. I could not imagine hanging over a river, and looking at, the truck must have been shaking, Lord knows. Good job with the tug test, by the way. But in all seriousness, to actually be in that situation, that must be scary. Lord, Lord, Lord. She's got a lot to be thankful for. The first responder um, that actually performed the operation, he's got a lot to be thankful for. I watched some of that news coverage. Everyone in the Louisville area, every news company, had it. It did go national, so a lot, and it did get some national press. But you want to talk about being thankful? That woman's alive because of that. What that first responder did. So, what do you think about first responders? You had to deal with it a couple of weeks ago, John. I'm sure.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
that video probably just dropped a couple days ago. Um, yeah, I think first responders definitely don't get the thanks that they deserve. And same with the military.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. At our worst moments in life is when they're showing up. So they see the worst things and the worst in us because it's in the worst moments of our lives. But yet, they do their job, calm, cool, and collected most of the time.
Mhm.
And I think they're very underappreciated and very overlooked in society, because could you imagine what would happen if we didn't have them?
Oh yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Think about it, where they originated from too. A lot of the skills and practices that they employ came from the military, and
yeah,
that's another thing I think that's pretty much underutilized in today's day and age. Well, not underutilized. I think underappreciated. You know, yeah, it's nice to say, okay, let's give you 10% off because you're a former vet. Yeah, it's nice to say the words, thank you for your service. But how many people actually do it the right way? Actually mean it. A large majority of my family is military. My daughter served, her husband served, my brother served, my father served. I didn't because my life took me elsewhere, and medically speaking, I just wasn't cut out for it. But I'm exposed to it, and I can tell you, first of all, from the feedback I've heard my entire life, it's unappreciated. It's underappreciated. It's not unappreciated. It's underappreciated. I got to choose my words carefully. Um, but what about you, Frank? You got anybody military in your family?
Oh, I've had several.
Yeah.
Um, my my great uncle was in the Navy, which is my grandpa's brother. I've had a few cousins that served in Vietnam, and I've got quite a few older friends too that served in Korea and in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you. I have utmost highest respect for any veteran, whether they're retired or current, due to the factor that they went out there and risked their lives, especially if they were in active duty,
Yes.
to try to help keep our country, the way it is, without being, destroyed. Um, and you know, and they have lots of stories, which I could go into detail, but I'm not going to because it would take too long. But the stories that they tell is just amazing, and you're like, myself, I signed up when I turned 18 to join the Navy, but I was turned down due to medical reasons also, Steve. And so it's just one of the deals, So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, military lifestyle is not for everybody, but what you do get out of it is priceless. I mean, just the training my daughter and her husband got, basically, I think pretty much gave her a leg up getting into what she's going into. The whole reason why I'm mentioning first responders, no, not the whole reason, but a majority of the reason I'm mentioning first responders is because my daughter right now is going through all the certification measures to become an EMT. And you, of course, knew that, Frank. I mean, you kind of
yeah.
spoke with me a little bit. But, it's kind of one insane. When you're in the military, you learn some of the skills and some of the discipline that help you focus on disasters and wrecks and all the stuff that, you know. And even though I didn't serve in the military, I did, and highly respect this, serve with a volunteer firefighting department, which my brother is currently. My brother Tim, he's a volunteer. Well, yeah, he's a volunteer with a local fire company here in North Carolina, and has been. And he's quite the guy. He's got quite a bit of training, and he does a fantastic job. Tim, you are number one in my book, buddy. I don't know if he watches the show or not, but if he does, he's quite the man. He's got quite the skills. Poet says I'm thankful for my wife. She keeps my head straight. Most of all, looks after the house when I'm gone. Yes, Poet, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that lovely woman pictured right behind me in this lovely um, slide, if it'll work right. Technical difficulties again. I got to remember which one I'm doing. Where is it? Get out of here, B-roll. There it is.
There we go.
Yeah, I got to get back and reset it because, hi, children. Not trying to be rude to my daughter, but trying to time this right. I mean, I kind of make these intros way too darn long. Hint, hint, hint. Things may change. There she is. She is the glue that keeps my channel, my life, and my heart together. So yes, Poet, I do sympathize and agree 100% with everything you said. That is definitely the God's honest truth there. So yeah. So I mean, lastly, I'll close by saying this much. Were it not for first responders, these guys, they have a lot. They have to train, they have to work, they have to do a lot every day just to answer the call. You know, God forbid that moment comes when we need them. You know, it's yeah, it's important that they get it right. They do that, and even my daughter, with all the work she does, she's training. She's gone through most of her certification. She's still out there training day after day after day. Training, frankly, never ends. So the topic today, my friend, is being thankful. We are talking today about being thankful for what we have. You know, it helps to have things. So I'm not working with a mouse. I'm trying to do this with my fingers, and it's not working today. There you go. FA Truckin. Ask what the topic is. So
Fate trucking.
Fate Truckin. Okay, I keep getting that wrong. I'm sorry, Scott. I'm trying to get used to this.
I do it all the time. Don't feel bad.
You know, if he wants to set me right on the name, he can come on the show. I'm just saying. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's
So
something I'm famous for. Just saying. I keep using that hashtag. Anyway,
unfortunately, I do too. My wife hates it. So I want to bring up a topic since he's in the chat section. He had a live this morning talking about something pretty controversial that Tyson's doing. So that's why I want him to come on. I wanted to maybe throw that around the ballpark a little bit, but he didn't seem like he wanted to come on. So
well, you tell me off the show what the topic is, and I'll put it up.
oh, now he
And
wants a link.
I would.
So maybe he does
Okay.
want to come in. You want to put me backstage for a minute? I'll send him a link.
No, I can put it right here in the chat. Give me a second.
Okay.
Because it was at the top, but I'm not gonna make him scroll all the way up. It's right there. So yeah, it's on all
There you
three
go.
now.
There's
It's
the
on
link.
the Facebook. Yeah, it's on Facebook. It's right there. So
Yeah,
my
I
wife
woke up.
wife chimed in. She says, I have the perfect shirt for all truckers' wives. It says the only thing tougher than a trucker is a trucker's wife. Amen, dear. She is right. Yep. And I've seen
Yep.
that shirt around a few times too. That is so true.
My wife is the backbone. I'm all the mush around it. So.
She's actually responsible for a lot that you don't see.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot that goes on in the background that the show and the guests and the viewers will never see.
Yep, that's
And
true.
as much as I can, I try to make mention of her and at least make you all aware of the fact that there's a force behind me. A lot of people big in show business and in YouTube and in influencers, they have a team. I don't have a team. Okay. Someday maybe, but I'm not big enough, you know. So I don't wish that on anyone. I mean, you know, me, I want complete ability to control, you know, exactly what it is you see, how you see it, you know, the message, all that, you know. So I have no problem, you know, asking for help. And my wife does it constantly. And you know, and you two as well, John and Frank. You guys are tremendous help. Because honestly,
I don't do anything.
I'd be stumbling over myself if it weren't for you guys. I mean, you know, so it's you know, clearly your benefit and you're a great asset to the show. So anyone can join. That's you. Yeah. No, I'm serious. I mean, you know, it's
I don't consider myself an asset to much of anything in life. So
you know, there again, the humility is dripping off of you, John. I mean, honestly.
He doesn't even want to acknowledge being an expert on my group. He said he's not an expert at nothing. Yeah, see?
I'm an expert in nothing. Nope.
Okay.
I'm not a trainer, I'm not an expert. I'm just a goopy guy that makes funny videos.
Now it's time to set you straight, my friend. Now the fun begins.
Uh-oh.
Welcome to Scott, the man who's going to set this guy straight.
Why? What did John do?
He's sitting here refusing to be humble enough to recognize the fact that he's an expert on Frank's site, and I'm telling him how much of a help he is to me. And he's
You're
like,
barking up the wrong tree. You're barking up the wrong tree. Scott's going to agree with me. I'm an expert in nothing. I'm not famous. I'm not anything. I'm just a trucker that makes videos. That's it.
Yep. So
I got so much I want to joke with you about, but I'm not going to. Congratulations. I will say this, John.
What?
I mean, I know you had a YouTube channel when I met you, but you didn't like really post anything. Congratulations. Well, what you have accomplished is not many people accomplish that. So congratulations. You can take my content anytime you want.
For what it's worth, I only
nothing worse than a backhanded compliment. Jeez.
No. You know me, John. I gotta throw that in there. Congratulations, like for real. That's huge.
For what it's worth, I only hope that my path upwards into getting more subscribers and getting more I don't even want to use the word fame. Getting more well known. I only hope it's as easy as you make it, John. You make it look easy. You really do. I know it's not easy, and I know what you've been through, John, probably has been a lot harder than you probably ever make it. But from some of the things that you've told me and seeing where you are now, I only hope I have that easy of a time. I really do. So
Well,
good
Can we
job for
change?
trying.
Can we change the subject? Can we stop talking about me?
yeah. One more quick thing though, John.
Go ahead,
One more
Scott.
quick thing, please.
Go ahead, Scott.
Because I sincerely mean this. You know it, man. You know how many nights I've talked to John driving? We're both driving, and here's what I think takes being successful on YouTube, like John is. He understands it. Like he pays attention to things. He analyzes details that I didn't even know about. You know what I mean? So like all the stuff behind the scenes of the video, John like dove headfirst in and can tell you things about your channel that you might not even understand. So like John, I mean, I know I joke, John, but I know how much time and effort and work you've put in to get that silver plaque. So congratulations.
Yeah, he deserves that, and he definitely does. And that is probably the hardest thing right there. That there you go. That is a hell of a milestone to hit 100,000 subscribers. Yes, sir. So well said, Scott. If nothing else, you're coming on to say that made the show, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Oh, but let's talk about what my live was about this morning.
Yes, I want to hear more about this.
I
'cause,
assume there was a valid reason you came on today. So let's have it. Let's have it.
I did just delete the live show. Um,
oh, geez,
I know I'm so bad at it, and
I
it
didn't.
had
I
it
didn't
had
even
like
watch the whole
800
thing because I just
views,
woke
dude.
up.
Yeah.
I had 1,200 views when I watched it.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe my app didn't update, but yeah, I should have kept it up. It got a little controversial because I don't typically talk about what I talked about today. But anyways, I don't know if anybody saw the article on what Tyson Foods is doing. And I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this. So Tyson Foods is closing a pork plant in Iowa that's laying off 1,300 people in a town of 8,000. They're shutting down operations in 5 other states, but in the state of New York, their goal is to hire 84,000 asylum seeking immigrants right now and pay them $16.25 an hour plus pay for their immigration lawyers. That's the package that they're offering at job fairs right now in New York.
I would
I'm gonna
say
be
before everybody gets started, let's keep down on the politics. But this is a good point what he's bringing up. So let's keep down on the politics as much as we can because this is a great topic.
I
Yeah,
will
Paul.
say this much. I will say this much. For a company, and again, good point, John. Politics is not one of my venues. I try to steer away from it as much as possible. I will say this. For a company to reside and have their business stationed here in the US, I don't care what state you're in, for you to lay off a massive amount of employees that are based here, I-9 eligible, W-2, whatever the case may be, and then turn around and do that, I have the least amount of respect for you. So that is where I'm going to start and make my position. I have no use for Tyson Foods if that's how they're going to treat American workforce. So anyway, I'll
I'm
leave
gonna
the floor open.
I'm gonna steal Fate's thing from his live. This isn't about you know people coming in illegally. This is about asylum seekers, about people that legally came in to seek asylum. But the problem is when you're laying off a huge swath of people so that you can hire, I guess if I remember correctly, it was 16 something an hour, you said, a whole bunch of other people.
16.25, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch of other people. So it was very surprising to me that in the business world, this makes good business sense because isn't that what business is about, is making money?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, making money is one thing, but I mean, there's a way of having a mixture. I mean, not just getting rid of, as what did you say, Scott? It was several states just
Well,
closing,
yeah,
laying off.
just the state, just the plant in Iowa is, I think it's 1,600 people out of, maybe it's 1,300.
Okay,
1,300 I think is the right number in Iowa, in a town of 8,000.
right,
You know what
8,000.
I mean?
Yeah,
But
that's a huge. That's a huge. That's a huge percentage of that population. That whole town is going to go belly up without Tyson there. Yeah. So
I'd like to
yeah,
say something to that.
yeah. Go ahead.
My sister, she lives in Arkansas. She works for one of the Tyson plants, which is processing of chicken.
Right.
Okay. One of the things that I have to say to this, and it's very upsetting, is the factor that Tyson drove off a lot of their employees right around the pandemic time when they made it mandatory to take that shot. So, that kind of put them in a big rut right there because, as you know, a lot of us drivers, we boycotted that shot also.
Yeah.
And, so they lost a lot of employees. Now, with that being said, does that give them the right to hire in immigrants that aren't 100% legal, that already have their, like you said, I-9s and W-2s and stuff? No, it really doesn't. I mean, that's just not right. I mean, that's
No.
kind of like how the farmers operate out there in California and stuff, where they bring in a lot of the immigrants, work them for a certain amount of time, and then if they don't get a green card again, they go back. You know,
Right.
well,
um,
Well, Poet says he's thinking that Tyson isn't up there. I'm pretty sure, don't they sell Tyson in your grocery stores, Poet? Because
I think what he means, though, and yeah, I put his comment up there a minute ago. I think what he means is as far as production.
no, I know, I understand, but
Yeah,
this
you
is
buy
one of those
chicken.
situations.
Yeah, if you buy chicken, you have Tyson involved in your life somehow.
oh, okay,
I think. Go ahead,
Go
Scott.
ahead, Scott.
no, because I'll let John finish his thought. Or whatever. Okay, so I'm sorry. What's your name? The Grumpy Old Trucker. What a great name.
just call me Grump.
I
Yeah,
got my phone upright, so it's hard to see all the names. So like, I understand the exodus of a lot of employees based on what a business chose to do. Okay, like
Hmm.
we're not getting political here, but a business has a right to require their employees to do whatever they want. You have the
True.
choice to leave. You know what I mean? That's freedom. I mean, you can pick and choose where you work. I'm not saying it was right. Okay, let me be clear
Hmm.
about that. But the problem I'm seeing, you just said your sister's in Arkansas. I
Hmm.
believe that's where Tyson's headquarters is.
Hmm.
And they just closed another plant in Arkansas. But yet somehow the state of New York is going to bring in 84,000 people. And this is a word that gets thrown around, or a phrase that gets thrown around, which many of us have been in this industry a long time. And I'm only talking about trucking, probably started at the bottom. I started trucking for $10 an hour. 1625. Now this is a term I don't like to use, is not a livable wage in the
no,
state I live in. I
no,
can only imagine. I live in Minnesota. I can
yeah.
only imagine how expensive the state of New York is to live in. So now what
I
happens with
used to live there.
85 and
I used to live there. Trust me. That 1625. That's worse than working in McDonald's anywhere else. I mean, in terms of the amount of money you make, no.
so John, you know where I stand, right? Like, you know where I stand politically. And this is not political, but all I'm saying is you're laying people off who are going to need assistance, maybe, or some help, which is taxpayer dollars, right? Which
Right.
is a good thing as long as it's not abused. Well, now you're going to add 84,000 employees that don't make enough money to live. So now it's the taxpayers not only paying for the laid off people, but the 84,000 people that you just hired. And
Right.
I get that they're looking at it from a standpoint of revenue,
Right.
but it's wrong. It's scary that a business, because that sets a precedent on what companies can do. Well, what
Yeah.
does that mean for me?
Yeah, it boils back down to this right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Well,
the big issue.
and actually this whole thing goes on to an even larger discussion, which Scott, thank you for coming on and bringing this up. Honestly, studio lines are open 860-785-3547 if you want to call in and weigh in on this topic. I think personally, Scott, this really goes a large degree to exactly what's happening in our industry. I mean, think about it. I mean, all the mega carriers out there are, I mean, just hand over fist trying to get trucks filled, trying to get everybody else to haul more freight for less. That is the name of the game when it comes to big trucking. Everybody wants to haul more for less. So, what's been this mantra in most of major press for the longest time is that we have a shortage, when in fact we don't. But it leads to that misclassification issue that's being currently bounced around. Everybody wants to talk about, well, let's keep pounding out this driver shortage. Let's keep getting people out here. Let's keep dumbing down the rates. Let's make everybody work for less. I mean, it's really a very universal issue. Whether you're talking about Tyson or whether you're talking about big trucking, the same thing is prevalent, and that's you want more people working for you for less money. But at what point does the average individual like yourself and me, when do we say no more? Okay, yeah, I know you want to make money, I know you want a profit margin, but whoa, I've got to live too. I've
Well,
got to be able to pay my bills. you know
that's kind of what I talked about a little bit on my live show. The fact that
yeah.
I do own the truck and trailer,
Mhm.
I any load I book works for me. I don't worry about what a broker makes. I very seldom will you ever hear me complain about the rates because I understand numbers. I understand my numbers and what works for me. What works for me might not work to the guy on my passenger side or the guy or girl on my driver's side, but it works for me.
Yeah.
What got me so worried about this article is exactly what you said. Like, they're removing people, and I'm not mad at the people that are going to get these $84,000 or 84,000 jobs. I'm not mad at the individual. I am pissed off at the corporation because if
Amen.
one corporation can do it, it's going to be, oh, look at what we did and now you can do it, and that puts all of us
I
in a
I tend
dangerous
to
spot.
stand. Yeah, I tend to stand on the you need to prove need for this. I mean, I get that Tyson wants to save a buck, but what need could there possibly be to hiring everybody that they need? I mean, virtually, when you think about it, I mean, their workforce nationwide can't be all that large to account for 84,000 people if your numbers are accurate. So
That's what the
obviously, what
article
they're
said.
doing, obviously, what they're doing is they're funneling everybody through that New York branch, and they're spreading them out. Because it wasn't
As
that
much
long
as we
ago.
don't,
It's
as much,
Well, yeah, as much as I think I know where you're going with that, but they're going to New York, they're getting hired, they're getting their creds, they're getting everything, and then they're going somewhere else. I think that's what it sounds like is going on.
well,
Anyway,
a different twist on this would be actually it's kind
somebody
of
fact
backwards
check me.
thinking. It's
yeah,
actually backwards here, but what I'm saying is basically it's a PR move. It has nothing to do with business. I honestly believe that. It's actually a PR move because a lot of the bigger corporations believe this is what the society that we live in wants. And I don't want
hmm
to go too deep into this, but I'm just saying I actually do believe
Let's
that a
go.
lot of these companies are not making business moves, they're making PR moves.
I can't see this being a PR move that positively affects Tyson in any way at all. This
Sure, it does.
cannot.
Yeah.
Well, no, it can't. I mean,
When
honestly, just the
you
discussion we're having is valid proof of that.
when you have 40% of the population that agrees with what they're doing, which 30 or 40%. Think about it, that's a huge market for them. All they
Well,
got
it
to
goes
do is
part and parcel to the comment on screen right now. Tyson can't be too worried about money, considering how much it will cost to build new plants. I don't think they're worried about new Cuddles. Thank you for the comment too. I don't think they're too worried about building. I think they're worried about saving. I mean, that to me sounds like the only reason they would make a bonehead move like that. I mean, I don't
actually
know.
Actually, I'd say it's exact opposite. They're spending even more because every person you bring in, the process to hire someone is so expensive. To get rid of the people and bring people in is actually a loss.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
So
but what's
expensive.
the
they're
return on
Let's
investment?
be clear about something here real quick. And it's hard not to bring this into like a political viewpoint, right?
You
Like,
can't avoid it. Let's not have
yeah,
fun with
but
it.
I'm
And
not
that's what,
I'm not gonna. Well, you're
no holds
talking
barred.
about asylum seekers. You're
Yes.
talking about people. What labor force do they fall under? They're not a citizen. They don't, as far as I know, somebody that is seeking asylum doesn't have a work visa. So do you have to provide health care for these people? Or is that put on us as well as taxpayers? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
it's just a weird dynamic. I'm not worried about them building things. Listen, that's how you save money on your taxes as a
Right.
corporation or as a
Yeah.
business. You build things. You
Right.
enlarge, you have more assets. And
Right.
there's nothing to say that these warehouses that Tyson are building is even going to be used for Tyson. They can lease it
Mhm.
out to anybody they want to. They can
Right.
be a property management company. You know,
Mhm.
I thought it was very strange that a company is closing doors on processing plants, laying people off by the thousands,
Right.
and then saying we're going to hire 84,000 asylum seekers and give them this wage and pay for all their legal expenses.
Yeah.
Like that's a ton of money. Because how is
Yeah.
that person even legal? Like politics aside, how is that person even able to work in the country
There's
if
so
they
much you got
haven't
to
gone
go through.
through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much you've got to go through just to get to that ability to be even able to work. I remember, and somebody we're familiar with, Poet. He's trying to join on. Poet, if you're wanting to join the show, my friend, because of your internet issues, I would recommend calling the studio line, which I'll put back up here just a moment again. That call last week went through real smooth. So yeah, I think that'll work better for you, buddy. So go ahead and call the studio line 860-785-3547. I know you probably have a lot to say. And I'm also going to add this. I remember him turning me on to ET Transport. He's another fellow up in Canada. He's got his own
It's like a
channel,
wheel
and
burner.
yeah, he's got a lot to say about, and a couple of videos up about just what we're talking about, and in the process involved in taking in immigrants. Now, mind you, he's got a Canadian perspective because he's in Canada, and he personally hires people and takes in people. But I think he also kind of set me wise to a pipeline that's going on, because in finding his, not directly his channel, but in looking for his channel and looking for the topic in that video, I stumbled upon a number of other channels which are piping out regular. If you're in this country, come here. It's this easy, 2 to 4 weeks. We can have you licensed. We can have you registered. We can have. You know how easy it is to become a Canadian immigrant and start driving truck? It'd blow your mind. I mean, really. I mean, really would blow your mind.
Well, once again, like I said, it's hard not to bring it in like the political scope.
Hmm.
I don't blame any individual that does that. It's not the individual's fault. It's
Yeah.
it's our government and it's our corporations that are allowing things to happen that
Yeah.
just seem weird. Like it doesn't seem like the right processes. And I
Right.
also get, I mean, if there is this big crisis of all these people coming over here, Like, yeah, what the hell are you gonna do with them all? It doesn't mean
Right.
you lay off people and close plants and bring
Yeah.
in a workforce that can't read the language, can't write the language, can't maybe even speak the language, and pay
No.
them nothing.
Yeah, we
You
have to
know,
be fair to those
that's not the
individuals.
answer.
Yeah, we have to be fair to those that actually are part of the greater process. You know, those people that are in the workforce. And Poet, you got to turn down your sound, my friend. Turn down the sound on the show.
Can I make a quick point?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
You hear Fate Trucking down there. He keeps saying how he doesn't blame the person. Well, no, I think any of us in that situation. I mean, put yourself in the situation of you're in a country where you're being abused or it's war ridden or you got to protect your family. You can't blame that person for wanting better for them and their family.
Absolutely not.
But you have to blame the governing officials of both countries for not taking care of it properly. That's the problem. It's not the person that's the problem. It's the
Hold
over
on. Hold on.
the umbrella over their head. Guys, I'm going to take this moment while he's doing whatever he's doing to say thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you go to his channel and subscribe. I really appreciate all of you guys supporting this. Come in with some great comments, some topics, some things that you want to talk about, and we'd be happy to talk about them with you.
Amen to that. Yes. And thank you for covering, John. I was going to actually say that because I've been kind of light on that the entire show. Um, the point of making what you were making a minute ago on uh, shit, and I got distracted between the phone call and I'm a lousy host. Sorry, guys. Um, you know, just my thought leading into this. Like I said, if you're going to go the process of trying to hire on cheaper help, you definitely got to go through it differently than the way Tyson's doing it. I mean, they clearly do not have their ducks in a row, and they certainly don't have the American workforce first in mind. That's for damn sure.
Well, Tyson is just like any of these other big corporations out here. They own several different little companies on the side. So shutting one plant down is not going to hurt them one bit.
That's true.
It's not going
That's
to hurt
very
their
true.
feelings at all.
Right. Very true.
Oh, and once again, that's that company's prerogative. Let me be
Yep.
clear.
Hmm.
They can do
Yeah.
whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
I this is a topic that I think my honest reaction to this, John could attest, is probably different than what he thought it was going to be based on this frustrates me
Yeah.
because I look at not only the every person that's in the workforce. I'm looking at people that I have a friend who had to sponsor his mother and brother for 5 years before they could come over to this country. He had to
Hmm.
prove that when they came over here, he
Mhm.
could provide for them until they found jobs. You know
Right.
what I mean? It
And
took
that
him
goes to cost. That goes to cost everybody money. It's not just what the companies that hiring them is saving. It's what the taxpayers also saving or having to pay for. Um, I understand Poet is on the line. I understand you, Poet, have a unique perspective. I'm seeing one of your comments that you made just before you called in. Um, he says, Scott, from what I can see, Tyson doesn't give a rat's butt about the labor force. What makes you think that, Poet?
Well, when a company can just shut the doors on on us employing 1,300 people out of a town of what was it, Scott? 4,000.
8,000.
That's gonna devastate
Okay,
that town.
8,000. Yeah, that's yeah. As I said earlier, that's going to
Okay.
devastate that town.
It's gonna devastate that town. So it's the taxpayer that's going to pick it up.
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure from the conversation if Tyson is going to hire the illegals that have crammed into New York City or actual legal.
No, they're hiring. Can he hear me?
He can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, Poet. They are hiring the asylum seekers that are in New York right now, and they want to hire up to 84,000 people, and they're holding job fairs. So imagine if you were somebody that came over here and got a job, you're going to call home and say, get here as quick as you can, and you're going to get a job.
Oh yeah,
You know?
word will spread real quick on that one. Yes, it will.
Yeah.
And exactly, that's what I'm saying. They're going to be hiring immigrants that have applied for asylum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tyson Foods. Do
Now,
they have any manufacturing facilities up there in Alberta, or are they nowhere near you?
nope. They're strictly U.S. Like I tried to play on, U.S. chickens have yellow meat because of their corn feed.
Oh, I didn't
Up
know what you
here
meant
we
by
use
that.
grain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yellow meat. Up
I can
here
actually-
in Canada, it's pure white meat from being fed grain.
Right.
I can actually tell you that's true personally
They don't
because
sell-
Hold on, Albers.
they don't
John has personal experience with that. You were saying, John?
I was just gonna say I can tell you that's true personally. When I was raising chickens not too long ago, we didn't feed corn feed, we fed grain feed, and when you pulled out our chicken out of the freezer compared to the chicken you bought from the store, one was white and one was yellow.
Yeah.
No other difference, just two chickens, and there is a major difference.
Okay.
And I think
I'm
honestly the
learning
grain fed, I think the
Yeah, I'm
grain fed
learning
is actually healthier for you than the corn fed would be.
Oh, I'm actually learning something.
Actually, range free is better for you.
Range free? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Range free.
range free chickens only range a few feet. It's not that big of a. They make a bigger deal than it truly is.
Canadians will not eat yellow chicken.
Really?
Yep.
That's
Can't
interesting.
say
I
they're
didn't know
blaming.
that. Yeah.
See, I think
Yeah.
Poe will agree with me that
Well, I'll
Canada
say
has a
this.
lot of more stricter laws and stuff on a lot of their foods. There's a lot of our stuff that we have down here in the U.S. It is absolutely not allowed even to bring across the border into Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Including the damn fish I catch in Canada.
Hey guys,
Bunch of
I'm out of
communists.
here. I'm going to go back to the YouTube channel.
I thank you for your call, Poet. You have a great day. And certainly next show, join us, man.
I know
You're
we're
welcome
going to go.
anytime, my friend.
I know we're kind of going off on a rabbit trail here, but I just got to say, I think I was talking to Fate about this the other day, or not the other day, because he's been on vacation for a month. But, you know, in the United States, our food is not very healthy. Like you can eat the same food here and anywhere else in the country, and the nutritional value drops drastically. Anything you eat here compared
You
to
were
anywhere
talking to
else
me about that.
in the world. I think I talked to you and to Fate about it, or to Fate about it. So, yeah, it's just it's crazy to me. And now you got a food company that's not only doing things like that, they're also, you know, doing a PR move instead of a business move, which they do have every right to do. But we also have every right to agree or disagree or support or not support this. So, don't get me wrong.
Well, this is kind of similar to what Fate's talking about. It's not a food factory, but we had a plant here that ran for years. Actually, it started up, I think, in 1978. It's called Quickset. They manufactured your door locks and your deadbolts and all that. And they done pretty much everything here in California and down in Denison, Texas. Well, they got bought out a few times through the years, and just out of the blue one day, they just oh, we're just going to shut this plant down and send everything to Mexico and send everything up to China and do this here and that there. So, I mean, an American made system just decided they just didn't want to have nothing to do with us Americans because it was cheaper labor to send it somewhere else. And I kind of see that's probably what they're trying to do here is they know they can cut corners and these immigrants will work for whatever they can get.
Mhm.
Us Americans that are pure Americans here, we know what the dollar's worth. We know what working for it is. Therefore, we ask for more. So, in order for these big companies to stay in business, they're going to reach out and try to go for as cheap as they possibly can. I'm not saying that's right because it's really not, but
No.
that's kind of what happened to all of us here in my hometown. Is several people lost their jobs and had to go to work 40, 50, 60 miles out of town to
Mhm.
make a living, and by the time you pay for fuel, you're not making anything anymore, so
No.
it put a big damper
No.
on something like that. So I see that. I see
Yeah.
Fate's proposition there, what he's talking about
Yeah.
on that plant
But
shutting down.
it's really not. It's really not that. I'm trying to think of a way to say this. It's almost impossible to have the kind of discussion we're having today, which honestly I did not plan on. But Scott, thank you anyway. Honestly, no, thank you. But it's almost impossible to have this kind of discussion and not bring politics in it.
Yeah.
I mean, John, I understand why you say that, and I agree with that. But a large part of the reason behind what Scott had said and also what you're saying, Frank, I'm trying to get my orientation right. Be funny too. A large part of the reason behind it is I blame Bernie Sanders, because there you go. I blame
All
Bernie
right, all
Sanders
right, all
because
right, all right, all right.
Bernie Sanders is I mean he is wholly responsible for this huge push on. Well, it started back in what was it, 2018, when he started all this BS about $15 an hour, and ever since then he's been talking about the livable wage, or however he says it. I forget. I mean, his accent irritates me. But he's going on and on about the livable wage and the rich paying their fair share, or whatever he says. I'm a lousy impersonator. But I mean, ever since he's been making that huge push, that's all that's been happening. Stuff like what you're bringing up, Scott, is, I mean, they're looking to bring everybody up, and they're looking to dumb people like you and me down because we have all this experience and we know better. You were going to say something, Scott. You look like you were right on the cusp of jumping on me here.
Not jumping on you, keeping my mouth shut.
Well,
and that's not because that's not because I'm advocating for Bernie Sanders or anything like that.
No.
But what you said is kind of like the fundamental flaw with what Tyson's doing. Like, they're choosing not to pay a livable wage and closing plants and finding cheaper labor, and somehow that's okay. Like that's not Bernie Sanders. I'm not. Hold on. Let me say this. I don't know enough to talk about it in a certain retrospect,
I don't
because
blame him directly, but his movement is what got corporations started doing exactly what it is I'm talking about.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was also healthcare. There was many things tied into that. That I know exactly what you're talking about. And let's be honest. I mean, you can go and win the lottery for $600 million right now in the Powerball, and there's kids starving tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
ironically,
that's weird. Yeah. Like that's weird to me. But
I really want to go somewhere after that comment, but I won't.
Well, no, like that's the truth.
I was just gonna say, and I don't want to get too political here, but I will say, along the same lines, we send billions of dollars to other countries, and we have people starving in our own. So.
Absolutely, it's not right.
Yeah,
it's
well,
not.
And that's been going on for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Well,
fund
we're
just
not
things that we should
certainly
fund.
we're certainly not going to solve every American problem here on this show, but it certainly is nice to talk about it. That's for sure. We are running late, by the way, and I'm not rushing anything along here. But while you're on live watching us, if you ever go on over to John's channel and hit the like and subscribe buttons on his channel. He's got a great YouTube channel, a great method to his madness. Scott with Fate Truckin. I hope you have at least started thinking about publishing more content, Scott. Last I heard, you were a little light in that department.
In what?
Your YouTube channel. Do you still run a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
He just went live
If
this
you
morning.
want, if you want, tell everybody about it, where they can go.
that's all right. They can find me if they want to.
I mean, maybe your name says it all. I don't know, but
YouTube's a weird thing. YouTube's a very, it's a weird thing, and I
As
might
we all
not
know.
be,
well, YouTube is a mouthpiece by which, if it were not for it, I wouldn't have this fun conversation I'm having with you now. So I'll give credit where credit's due. So if you're on my show, you have just as much of a platform to to give your YouTube channel as much as I do. So
I
my hats
appreciate
off
that.
to you, Scott. My hats off to you, my friend. And I don't have a way to personally get in touch with you. So if you would not mind, either through John or maybe even through the studio line, I can receive text messages on my studio line. Give me your contact so that if I see a topic that I know you want to be part of, I'd like to give you an advance heads up and give you a chance to come on and
I'll talk to John. I'm kind of a I don't know how to say this.
an introvert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mingle with a lot. I mean, I know John from
He keeps his circle
not even
small.
YouTube. Yeah, I keep a very small circle. I'm sure I'm different than the three people here on the panel with like my beliefs and things like that, which is fine. I'm entitled to that, just as you're entitled to your opinions and beliefs.
Yeah.
I
Yours
just
don't
thought,
count.
yeah, I just thought this this article for some reason got me pissed off, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, because
Well, it kind of leads to something, and I mentioned what I did for a reason. And honestly, Scott, you're welcome on anytime, honestly. And I anytime you see an article or anything that touches you or makes you aggravated, if you feel like you'd like to amplify whatever it is you feel about something, please do me a favor, one way or the other, contact us, let us know here at Truckin City. I would love to have you on and give you the opportunity to sound off exactly what it is that's on your mind. Because honestly, just like my wife says, never tell a trucker where to tell people where to go. Good one, dear. Never tell a trucker where to tell people where. I think I know what you meant, but yeah. Basically, don't tell a trucker where to go. They'll certainly come back at you.
see,
Scott, honestly though, I'm waiting for the thing to come back up and trying to get my damn stuff straight. I'm trying to start that boneyard thing that I mentioned last week, and what you're talking about displays that perfectly. If you've got an article or something you want to talk about, certainly email the show. That's truckinnews@outlook.com. And I used to have that up. While you're talking, I'll bring it up. But
while I'm talking,
you, John, anybody.
okay.
Trying to get those, yeah. There we go.
Well, that was no
Yeah,
no
that was here at Studio Line. But my email address will come up here in just a minute. But yeah, Boneyard, basically, I'm introducing that as a means for people like yourself, Scott, John, Frank, anybody in the audience. If you see a particular article or news story that you want covered and talked about in any way, shape, and form, just email that email address right there. title the email with the term boneyard, and we'll happily bring that story up in our live, or I'll make a video and talk about it from that perspective. But I'll
So
give you the credit you deserve if you choose to allow that to happen. Go ahead, Scott.
well, no. So let me explain why this article bothered me so much. And maybe this is a little too going down a certain path that we might not want to go down. And John can attest to this. I would appreciate not telling you how to run your show. Can you put John on here too? So or like all of us, so I can get facial recognition. Because I know I'm probably gonna like ruffle some feathers or stuff. And maybe I could be
he's trying to get
John on.
He's gonna get me going.
No. Because I think of like having discussions with people.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I would say in the trucking realm, I am probably a very libertarian style thinker, meaning less government. States should be able to operate a little bit less under like a smaller federal government. I believe in the Constitution. But I also think we could help each other out more as a country than what we do, put it that way. So like, I believe in immigration. I think immigration is a great thing when it's done the right way. When it's right now, this is not being done the right way. And for somebody that believes in the slogan, like pursuit of happiness, I don't think that just means me, a white American. I think that should spread out to every living soul on this planet.
Yes.
Nomadic Brit just called you a snob. I just wanted to let you know that.
Nice. Thanks, Britt. Thanks, Britt.
Well,
once again, we conquered them. That at one time that was the strongest army in the world, and we said,
that's funny
spit on
because
you.
he said a minute ago, "Make America Britain again." That was glad. That was
I mean,
good timing.
everything has their own problems. I think your channel, the conversations, I even checked in when I was on vacation, are really interesting. I would love people to understand more about what trucking is. You know, I think all of us in here can attest to the sacrifices we've made, and I am not looking. I freely made all those sacrifices.
Right.
Nobody needs to thank me for that. I freely made those decisions.
Right.
But this is not an industry that you should just be able to walk into with the inability to read the language of the country you're driving in. Like,
yeah, right.
I can't
That
wrap
should be
my
a
head
must.
around that.
Yeah,
You know?
that should be a must. Yet it still happens, and no one's made any effort to change that, which totally irritates me. But
That's
I'm
why we
probably not
can't.
the only. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I'm not the only one. I'm sure that everybody else is probably just as irritated about it as we are. So, I mean, like you say, Scott, there's nothing wrong with somebody coming in from another country. Immigrants have every right to work in this country. I get that. But I think, like you, there needs to be a process, and it needs to be done right.
Whoa, Nomadic Brit just made a comment. That's a Brit that's here working in this country that did crap the right way. Like, perfect example.
Yep.
You know, what are we doing by just saying, oh, we're going to hire, whatever. I don't want to get.
Well,
I can't. That pissed me off. No, like that pissed me off.
We know where
And
you're
John,
going. You don't need to go there.
John can attest to, I mean, that's probably a little different thought. Me saying it's pissed off might be different than what you thought my opinion would be on it, John.
That article is exactly the entire reason I started this channel. I have every hope and desire to affect positively conversation on every news topic out there. Exactly what you brought up, Scott, is exactly the whole reason I'm in existence today. You know, it's nobody in Main Street press has the time of day to cover the things I talk about, which is the whole. I think that's why I've got an edge. I really do. Because I mean, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, all of them, they don't have time to cover stuff like this. Even the big trucking channels, other than myself, don't have time to cover all of the issues. I mean, I have a queue, I mean, a mile long on stories I can do. My problem is time. You know, I don't have all the time to be able to run these shows day in and day out, or I would. So I choose to do it weekly. I mean, if you guys in the audience think I should do more show, you know, put it down in the comments. I'd love your feedback. But
Let me bring this back to the beginning, if you don't mind, real quick.
sure, go ahead,
Um,
go ahead.
I think it's your wife actually. She said back to the beginning, being thankful. We truckers' wives should get weekly vacations every year or a week-long vacation every year for all that we have to deal with.
My
Now,
we just got
I will
we just
say, go ahead.
Go
no
ahead,
no
John.
I didn't know you were talking, John. Or I knew
Oh,
you were talking. I thought you were done.
I was just gonna say, now she's a trucker's wife, so she wouldn't know this, but I'm pretty sure I can speak for all of us on this panel that without our wife's support, our job would become so much harder, if not almost impossible. I mean, we could still do our job, but a lot of other things would fall back without our wife's support. So, um,
Yes.
I couldn't even comprehend what it feels like to lay in bed at night wondering if you're going to get that phone call. I don't want to compare us to the military because we're not the military,
No.
but
No.
our industry is one of the most dangerous industries in the world. So you can't tell me your wife doesn't lay in bed and think about, you know, they could get that phone call. You know what I mean?
Oh
My
yeah,
wife
That's
I'm sure. I'm sure mine does. You were gonna say, Scott?
my wife and I just had that because we just got back from vacation, and my wife went out of town with a couple of friends the other day. That's why I climbed back in the truck, because my kids had plans, and I was going to be home alone. But my wife and I just had that conversation. Like,
Yeah.
how did
Yeah.
we get to the point where you're comfortable with me being gone, the time frame I'm gone? Uh,
Mm,
Not always in the mood to talk to you when you call.
mm,
I make a very valiant effort to like communicate well with my wife when she calls me,
yes.
because my mind's basically other places when she calls, like thinking about business, thinking about routes, whatever. So yeah, the
Yeah.
trucker wife is what, even trucking husbands or whatever, like the fact that your loved one's gone, and we do we do operate machinery that can kill us and kill other people, and for them to be on our back and be on our, be a support to us is huge.
Yeah.
I know it means everything to me.
Yeah.
Eh,
Midlife
I,
trucker says, my wife's a trucker's kid. She knew the deal before I went to CDL school. A lot of that, there's a lot of truth in that. And thank you for your comment there, midlife. I will say this, I mean, for years, I toyed with the idea. My first wife, my first marriage, I'd have been divorced in 10 seconds. The woman I'm married to now is honestly the best thing that ever happened to me. She understands totally. That phone call could come in. What you're talking about, Scott, could happen. But thankfully, we've had enough discussions now, and there is enough of a bond, I think. She understands. The probability's there, yes, but I don't think God's going to work that into the plan anytime soon. Um, she knew every day was going to be difficult, and she
you know
knew every
God's
day was
plan
going to be
for you?
different.
Can you tell me the
I,
secret?
I
I
do.
don't. I don't.
Hmm.
I
I do.
can't. I can't figure it out. I just have to work it out and ask him every day. His plan may change for you, so that's what they
Oh,
made the Bible
I'm
for.
well aware of that.
They made the Bible for. Were you
So,
going to go somewhere with that, Scott? Was there a hidden joke in that somewhere?
Well, it was kind of along the lines like, I don't think God's gonna have that call, have your wife receive that call for a while yet. And yeah, it
Well,
was a joke. It
I
was a joke.
yeah,
Oh, like,
well,
God's
and I get
plan,
that.
where none of
Yeah.
us are guaranteed the next 1 minute.
Well, my wife is very
No,
spiritual, and I would like to think a majority of the audience is too. So that's why I brought that into the conversation. So it's
I would
it's
I would like
something
to
that.
add to the
What? Go ahead, John.
I'd like to add to the conversation about thanking our wives that one of the biggest things they have to deal with is us. And I say that I don't mean to sound but guys are very focused when they're at work. They're very focused on their job. So yeah, we may not answer the phone and sound like we really want to talk at that moment, or you know, our minds are, we put things in this compartment. I'm in work mode right now. This is how I work anyway. I don't know if everybody does, but I'm in work mode. So I put my blinders on and I'm worried about work. I'm not worried about all these other things. And I think a lot of times our wives catch the flack of that. So
Well,
Yeah.
not only in that realm, John, in the realm of man, this is so funny you guys brought this conversation up, or that your wife had said back to the original conversation, thanking people. We were sitting in the hot tub in South
true.
Padre last week, and we were both feeling pretty good along with some other people in the hot tub, and my wife looks at me and goes, "I'm so proud of you." Now, John and I have had this conversation. I really only needed to hear that from one person in my entire life, and that was my father. But my wife said it to me, and it meant the world to me. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that somebody acknowledged, as weird as it is, because I don't need it. Like, that's not why I do the things I do. But that gets me to this point, is for me, and maybe I'm speaking for other people in the audience or here on the panel today, I'm not work mode. I'm provide mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to provide the very best life I can, not only for my children, but my wife, my mom and dad, my I like am like sixth in line. I give two. There, dude, I'm so bad at taking care of myself, it's ridiculous. My focus isn't me. My focus is providing for the people that I love. And at times, I sacrifice the things that I shouldn't sacrifice because I think I need to provide for them. And when they speak up, that's when I have to listen. That's when I have to listen to my wife. Because if
Yes.
I don't, I'm going to push her away. Type of person I am, I would push that person away. You know what I'm just because of my nature, how I am, who I am.
Yeah. But because it's
So
her, but because it's her, you received it differently.
yeah, I would not be in the position I'm in, not only in my business but in life, without
Hmm.
my wife. My
Right.
wife, I am not ashamed to say my wife is the absolute foundation that my besides God, that my family is built on. She
Yeah.
wears the pants. She is I you know, I feel very fortunate to have her in my life. Very
Now,
Well,
fortunate.
Scott, you've made quite an influence because my wife is sitting here asking me, "Are you listening?" Now,
No.
I will say this. I will say this. When it comes to our relationship, dear, first of all, I don't put personal stuff out on YouTube anyway. But when it comes to our relationship, I think we have a good thing. And yes, Scott is right, in terms of where the priorities are. I think you and I are a lot. Well, no, when priorities are what they are, I work the same way you do, Scott, and that is I make sure that the family's first, the kids and the wife are well taken care of, and I think of myself last on that hierarchy. Okay, there is an equal hierarchy, and as much as my wife comments about it and jokes, she knows where she's at. She knows that she is well provided for. I think of it a little differently than you do, but um, I don't think of it as providing. I think of it as living. I really do. Because
Hmm.
I am of the mentality that if you can't enjoy what you do, there's no sense doing it.
I
So,
don't want to I don't want to do a subject change or anything. I just wanted to mention, um, only because it's in the comments. Midlife Trucker said that someone named Trucker Todd. I don't know who that is, but I
yeah,
guess he had a stroke this week,
I'm going to
Oh
and
make you
no.
show manager because I was going to jump right on that as soon as we get done with this. But yeah,
yeah,
thank you,
sorry.
though.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to mention
No,
it because part of appreciating each other as truckers and showing respect to each other is also
yes,
understanding, you know, the loss of the loss or the injury of another.
Mm.
So my prayers definitely go out to him and his family, and I honestly don't know who that is, but I will educate myself on him a little bit.
Yeah,
So
he's got a
Certainly.
YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Ready?
yeah. And thank you to Midlife Trucker for mentioning that too. You know, anytime you guys are on the show and you want to drop a comment like that, you know, yeah, please do. You know, I,
Yeah,
I have a huge amount of respect for other YouTubers and other truckers as well too. So you were gonna say
and
something,
things
John?
like that. I also, yeah, things like that that's brought up like that. I don't mind being put on my group also.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So head on over to Grumpy Old Truckers Midlife if you haven't already. Go ahead and put something up there.
Can I
No.
can I say one more thing, because I know you're about to wrap it up. I know you are. I got one more thing for you. So Midlife Trucker, I gotta say, I don't normally do this on somebody else's channel or on my own channel very often, but
John, you have
someone's
carte
gotta
blanche. You do what you need to do, man.
somebody's got to go check out his newest video. I'm like, the dude is a wordsmith, and it, it he literally talked about his day in a way that even a trucker was entertained. I just got to say, dude, kudos to you. That was an awesome video. Good job. So go
Yeah,
check out his
Oh,
most recent video.
yeah.
that's more
and
appreciation than I've ever gotten from you. So it
just to
must be
kind of
good.
touch
Oh,
this, how
bird.
we've been talking about wives and husbands and things. Um, there are a few people out there that aren't legally married. I would refer as basically as spouses because
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's some of them that aren't married, but they're together and have been together for many years. An
Yeah,
example: my wife and I were together for 15 years before we got it legal. So you know, it's basically your spouse is how I
yeah,
would politically put that one.
Yep.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good job. I agree with that.
Yes, good point. My spouse says, I pray he heals soon. My prayers are to Trucker Todd, and my thanks are to Midlife Trucker for making mention of that. Once again, anybody want to come on the show and make mention of things similar in nature, by all means, certainly take have confidence. I'm not going to yell at you. Um, I am going to wrap the show. I am going to ask that everybody take time out every day, take stock in who's around you, what you do, and take stock in the fact that you can live the life you live. Go to the YouTube channel right here for Drive with John. Become a subscriber, listen to his stuff. Little Grumpy Old Trucker, Tik Truckin, I thank you for joining us today. Take every day as a gift. Make sure that you live every day. Be thankful to those around you, those who support you and love you. And by all means, remember, it's the trucks that make the deliveries, but it's you that makes the difference. Keep the faith, keep it real, and by all means, keep it rolling.